They rejected me in the final interview, not because I lacked experience. I had 3 patents, 2 published papers, and a PhD in biomedical engineering, but because I was a mother. It's a high-pressure lab, they said. We need someone fully committed. 1 year later, they called me again. Not just to offer me the job, they begged me to accept it. My name is Dr. Lila, MIT graduate, former postdoc at Stanford, biomedical research consultant, and mother of a 4-year-old girl who thinks lab coats are magic capes. That interview wasn't the first time I felt underestimated because I chose motherhood, but it was the first time someone made me feel like it canceled out my entire identity. The questions were never about innovation or science. They were about childcare, sick days, balance. When I walked out of that building, I didn't cry. I took a breath. Then I got to work. I started with an email, sent to 5 women I had met during my doctoral and postdoc years. Brilliant, capable women who'd also been overlooked, undercredited, or dismissed because they were too much or too unavailable. Together, we applied for a barely funded federal research grant to explore AI-supported diagnostics for autoimmune diseases. The odds were slim, the budget was laughable, but we won the grant. While the lab that rejected me was still debating leadership roles, we were designing a prototype that could shorten diagnostic times by 80%. We called ourselves the Quiet Lab. No loud marketing, no university backing, just 5 women, a shared server, and nightly Zoom calls after our kids were asleep. 6 months in, our prototype caught the attention of a biotech investor who'd lost his wife to late-diagnosed lupus. He gave us our first real funding. We gave him results. 1 year after rejection, I was in a different world. My name was now tied to innovation briefings. I was featured in a Forbes piece on disruptive women in biotech. Then it happened. An email from the same institution, the same director, the same laboratory. We've been following your work with great admiration. Would you be open to discussing an executive leadership role with us? I stared at the message for a full minute, then I smiled, because they didn't know I had recorded the entire hiring panel conversation a year ago. The part where they laughed about young moms burning out fast. I never reported it. I just waited for the day they'd come to me. I replied professionally, "Thank you for your message." Before I consider your offer, may I ask, has your team's view on working mothers evolved since our last conversation? It took them 3 days to respond. The next message, flattery, apologies, talks of policy changes. I agreed to visit, but not for an interview, for a lecture. They invited me to present a keynote on AI in autoimmune research. I walked in wearing the same navy blue suit I had worn to the first interview. This time, no one dared ask about my daughter. I spoke for 30 minutes. I didn't mention the past. I let the science speak for itself. When I finished, they applauded like they hadn't once dismissed me as too distracted. After the lecture, the lab director pulled me aside. "We'd be honored to have you lead the diagnostics department. Name your conditions." I didn't hesitate. On-site daycare, flexible hours, a remote work policy for researchers with families. He blinked. "Is that negotiable?" I looked at him steady. Number. I wasn't just negotiating for myself. I was rewriting the terms for every woman who'd ever been passed over for being human. They agreed. I didn't post a victory message. I didn't gloat. I just showed up to the lab. As the new head of the department, I brought my daughter with me on the first day. She sat on my lap while I reviewed grant reports. "Mama, do you fix people here?" "I try, baby. I try." Every day now, I build, I lead, I design systems that don't punish people for being whole. They once told me I couldn't do this job because I was a mother. Now, I'm doing it because I'm a mother. And they'll never forget the lesson I taught. Without ever raising